Let me tell you something about men. I want you to really listen because there's a truth that a lot of people don't talk about. Men, as much as they try to hide it, as much as they try to act like they're always strong, always in control, always the ones who have it together, they struggle with vulnerability. And I'm not just talking about the soft, poetic kind of vulnerability. I'm talking about the real, deep, gut-level stuff that makes a man human. The stuff that makes a man question himself. The stuff that keeps him awake at night. The stuff he would never say out loud because he's afraid it might make him look weak. And if you think men don't have feelings or that they don't worry about things, you've been living in a fairy tale, because the truth is they do. More than you know. More than they're willing to admit. Now, let's get one thing straight. When I say men struggle with vulnerability, I don't mean they're weak. I don't mean they're broken. I don't mean there's something wrong with them. In fact, the struggle with vulnerability is part of what makes men strong. But here's the catch: society, family, culture, even our own upbringing teaches men that showing vulnerability is dangerous. That if you let someone see your fears, your insecurities, your doubts, you're suddenly less of a man. And that's a lie, a big, ugly lie. And men know it deep down. They know they feel things they can't express. And they live with that tension every single day of their lives. Think about this for a second. How many times have you known a man who seemed completely confident on the outside, who walked into a room like he owned it, who had a joke for every situation, who seemed untouchable, and yet behind closed doors he was wrestling with doubt? Behind that confident smile, he was asking himself, am I enough? Do they really see me? Am I doing the right thing? Those thoughts don't go away just because a man acts tough. They're there, and they're heavy, and they shape how he behaves in his relationships, in his work, in his life. And the reason he doesn't talk about it is simple. Vulnerability scares him, because vulnerability means opening up, and opening up means risking rejection. And rejection is something no man wants to feel. Men don't just struggle with vulnerability in the big, obvious ways. They struggle with it in the little things too. They struggle to admit when they're scared, when they're hurt, when they're lonely, when they're uncertain. They struggle to say, I need help, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I feel lost. And it's not because they don't feel these things. It's because they've been taught that they're not allowed to feel these things in front of anyone. So instead of saying it, they hide it, they bury it, they put on a mask and keep going, hoping nobody notices. And here's the thing most people do notice. Women notice it, family members notice it, friends notice it. But because men are so skilled at hiding vulnerability, it often gets mistaken for confidence, for stability, for control. And that's dangerous, because the truth is, underneath it all, a man who can express vulnerability is carrying weight that nobody else can see. And here's the part that really hits home. When a man starts to open up, even just a little, it's terrifying for him. Even if he trusts you, even if he loves you, even if he wants to be honest. Telling you what's really going on inside is like stepping off a cliff. He's afraid of how you'll react. He's afraid you'll judge him. He's afraid you'll think less of him. And the irony is, most of the time, when he finally does open up, the person he's opening up to doesn't even realize the courage it took to say those words. But he knows, and he carries that moment with him forever. Because vulnerability isn't just an act. It's a risk. And risk is something men live with every single day, whether they admit it or not. Now, let's talk about the consequences of not expressing vulnerability, because it's not just a personal thing. When men bottle up their emotions, it affects every part of their lives. Relationships suffer because women don't know what's going on inside his head. Friendships suffer because men feel like they can't talk about what's really bothering them. Work suffers because stress builds up and clouds judgment. Health suffers because carrying all that emotional weight can literally take a toll on the body. And the most heartbreaking part is this: a man who never learns to be vulnerable, who never learns to share what's inside, ends up alone. Not because he doesn't have people around him, but because the walls he builds to protect himself also keep people out. But here's the good news. Vulnerability can be learned. It's not something you're born with. It's something you practice. And the more a man allows himself to feel and to express, the stronger he becomes, not weaker. It takes courage, yes. But it's the kind of courage that builds deeper connections, that fosters intimacy, that allows a man to live authentically. And it starts with small steps, saying, I'm struggling, asking for help, sharing a fear, expressing love, admitting a mistake. These small acts are monumental for a man who's been conditioned to hide his feelings. And every time he does it, he's breaking a cycle. He's teaching himself that being vulnerable doesn't make him less of a man, it makes him human. Let me tell you another truth. Men are emotional creatures whether society admits it or not. They feel joy deeply. They feel pain deeply. They feel love deeply. But the way they express it is often different from when. Men may not cry as often, may not verbalize their feelings, may not hold hands or write love letters, but that doesn't mean they're not feeling everything in the room. And sometimes that emotional depth is so intense that they don't know how to deal with it. So they retreat. They become quiet. They become distant. They focus on work. They focus on distractions, anything to avoid confronting the emotions they're carrying. And again, that's where vulnerability comes in. Learning to express those feelings safely, without shame, without fear, without judgment, it's transformative. And ladies, here's something important for you to understand. When a man finally does show vulnerability, it's a gift. It's not a weakness. It's not a flaw. It's a sign that he trusts you enough to let you see him fully. And if you respond with judgment, criticism, or disbelief, you may shut that door forever. But if you respond with compassion, understanding, and patience, you create a bond that's unshakable. Because vulnerability is not just about feelings, it's about trust. And trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. I want men to hear this too. If you're a man listening to this, understand that being vulnerable doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you more complete. It makes you more capable of love, of connection, of joy. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might make you feel exposed. But that exposure is where growth happens. That exposure is where intimacy happens. That exposure is where real strength is found. And the more you practice it, easier it gets. The more you open your heart, the more life opens up to you in ways you never imagined. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Steve, what if I show vulnerability and people take advantage of me? What if I get hurt? And that's a fair concern. But here's the thing, vulnerability doesn't mean recklessness. It doesn't mean telling every single person your deepest secrets. It means choosing carefully. It means finding the people who matter, the people who love you, the people who will hold your heart gently. It means creating a safe space for yourself where you can be real without fear. And when you do that, the benefits are tremendous. You start to feel lighter. You start to feel freer. You start to feel more connected to the world around you. And eventually, that becomes the life you've been searching for all along. I want to leave you with this thought. Men are carrying more than you realize, more than anyone realizes. And the weight they carry doesn't make them weak. It makes them human. And the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to express what's inside, the courage to be real. That's where true strength is found. Every man has that courage inside of him. It's up to him to unlock it. And the people who love him, who care about him, who stand by him, they have the power to help him do that. Not by pushing, not by demanding, not by criticizing, but by loving, by understanding, by holding space. Because when a man learns to embrace vulnerability, he doesn't just become a better partner, a better father, a better friend. He becomes a better version of himself. Let me talk to you today about something that a lot of people don't fully understand. Something that a lot of women and men overlook in their relationships. You see, we live in a world where physical intimacy gets all the attention. We're bombarded with movies, TV, music, and even social media that tell us the physical side of love is the most important. But I want to tell you something that's not often said out loud. Emotional connection is just as important as physical intimacy, and in many ways, It's more powerful. And here's the truth. If a man is truly emotionally connected to you, it doesn't just change the way he interacts with you in bed. It changes the way he treats you in life. It changes the way he sees you. It changes the way he thinks about you. And it changes the way he loves you. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Steve, that sounds a little too soft. Men aren't emotional creatures like women. And to that, I say, hold on. Men are emotional. They just express it differently. And here's where emotional connection comes in. Physical intimacy is temporary. Physical intimacy is fleeting. Physical intimacy is an act. But emotional intimacy, that lasts, that builds, that grows, that creates a bond that can survive storms, trials, arguments, and disagreements. And most people don't realize this. They chase the physical and think that's enough, but it's not. Because without emotional intimacy, physical intimacy is just a moment. With emotional intimacy, it's a lifetime. Think about this for a second. When a man is emotionally connected to a woman, he doesn't just see her body, he sees her soul. He doesn't just feel attraction, he feels admiration. He doesn't just experience desire, he experiences care. He doesn't just enjoy the moment, he values the person. And that's powerful. Because women, let me tell you, when you have a man who is emotionally connected to you, he will move mountains for you. He will protect you not just physically, but emotionally. He will support you not just financially or practically, but spiritually and mentally. He will listen to you when no one else does. And he will love you in ways that go far beyond the physical. Now, emotional connection doesn't happen by accident. It's not like a switch flips one day and suddenly a man is emotionally open and connected. No, it's a process. It's built over time. It's built through trust, through conversation, through shared experiences, through understanding, and through patience. Emotional connection is created when a man feels safe to express himself, when he feels valued and heard, when he knows that being honest and vulnerable won't push you away. And let me tell you something. Ladies, if you want a man to truly connect with you, you have to create that space for him. You have to show him that you are someone he can trust with his heart, someone he can open up to without fear of judgment, someone who sees him for who he truly is. Because when that happens, the magic happens. Let me give you an example. A man might be physically intimate with a woman he's not emotionally connected to, and yes, it might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't create satisfaction or fulfillment. There's no depth. There's no meaning. There's no lasting impact. But when a man is emotionally connected, when he shares his fears, his dreams, his hopes, his failures, and his victories with a woman he loves, that creates a bond that cannot be broken. Emotional intimacy gives physical intimacy context. It gives it meaning. It transforms it from a simple act into an expression of love, care, and connection. And here's another thing you need to understand. Emotional connection influences behavior. A man who is emotionally connected to you will treat you differently. He will respect your boundaries. He will honor your feelings. He will protect your heart. He won't just show up for the physical. He will show up for the emotional, for the mental, for the spiritual. And that, my friends, is where real love thrives. That's where relationships become partnerships, where couples become teams, and where love becomes enduring. Because without emotional connection, even the strongest physical attraction can fade. With emotional connection, even when life gets hard, even when the physical fades, the love remains. Now, ladies, let me speak directly to you for a moment. Sometimes women think that if a man is not emotionally expressive, it means he doesn't care. That is not always true. Sometimes men are slow to express emotion because they don't know how, because they've been hurt before, because they've been taught that showing emotion is weakness. But that doesn't mean they are incapable of emotional connection. It just means they need time, patience, and a safe environment to open up. And when they do, it's incredible. It's a revelation. You realize that the man you thought you knew physically, you now know emotionally. And that changes everything. Emotional connection also allows a couple to navigate challenges better. Life is not easy. Relationships are not perfect. There will be disagreements. There will be stress. There will be unexpected events. There will be moments where communication breaks down. But a strong emotional connection acts like glue. It holds you together. It allows for understanding and compromise. It allows for forgiveness and patience. And it allows both partners to see each other as allies rather than adversaries. Without emotional connection, Those same challenges can tear people apart. With emotional connection, even the toughest situations become opportunities to grow closer. And here, something else that is important. Emotional connection fosters trust. A man who is emotionally connected to a woman trusts her with his heart. He trusts her with his thoughts, his fears, his weaknesses. He does feel the need to hide parts of himself. And trust is the foundation of intimacy. Without trust, there is no real connection. You can have all the physical intimacy in the world, but without trust and emotional connection, it will always feel empty. Emotional connection fills the gaps, creates security, and gives both partners a sense of belonging. Let me be clear, this is just about men. Women also need to be emotionally connected. But in this conversation, we are focusing on men because so often women wonder why men seem distant or uninterested. It is not that men don't care. It is not that they are incapable of love. It is because emotional connection takes time, patience, and effort. And if a woman understands that, if she nurtures that connection, she unlocks a level of intimacy and partnership that most people never experience. And here, as the truth about physical intimacy, it is powerful, yes, but it is fleeting if it's not backed by emotion. Physical intimacy without emotional intimacy can feel hollow, it can feel mechanical, it can feel meaningless. But physical intimacy with emotional intimacy, that is transformative. That is bonding. That is what makes a man love you in a deeper, more committed, and more lasting way. That's what makes a man show up for you when life is hard, when challenges arise, when temptation is near. That's what creates loyalty, commitment, and true partnership. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Steve, this sounds too idealistic. Men are men. They think physically first. And yes, it's true that physical attraction plays a role, but emotional connection is what makes physical attraction meaningful. It's what turns desire into love, lust into commitment, passion into intimacy. And when a man is emotionally connected, he doesn't just see you as an object of desire. He sees you as a partner, a teammate, a confidant, a love. And that changes everything. Emotional connection also helps men communicate better. When a man feels emotionally safe with a woman, he expresses his needs, his thoughts, and his feelings more clearly. He doesn't bottle things up. He doesn't withdraw. He doesn't act out. And that creates a healthier, more balanced, and more satisfying relationship for both partners. Emotional connection is not just about feeling. It's about building a dynamic where both people can thrive, where both people feel heard, valued, and loved. And let me tell you something about men who are emotionally connected. They become better fathers, better friends, better partners. They understand that love is not just about what you do physically. It's about how you show up emotionally. They understand that their actions carry weight, that their words matter, that their presence is powerful. Emotional connection teaches men empathy, patience, compassion, and understanding. And when they bring that into a relationship, it elevates everything. So, ladies, if you want a man to be truly yours, if you want a man to love you fully, if you want a man to be committed, loyal, and engaged, focus on emotional connection. Nurture it. Encourage it. Be patient with it. Celebrate it. And when he finally opens up, when he finally shares his heart with you, you will see a side of him that few people ever get to see. And that, my friends, is where real love begins. Remember, physical intimacy will always have its place. But emotional intimacy is the glue that holds a relationship together. It's the secret that most people overlook. It's the difference between passion that fades and love that lasts. It's the reason some relationships survive everything, while others crumble under pressure. And the truth is, a man who is emotionally connected to you will never take you for granted, will never treat you carelessly, and will never let the physical aspect of your relationship overshadow the depth of your bond. Emotional connection is a game changer. It's transformative. It's powerful. And it's something that men feel deeply, even if they don't always express it. When a man is emotionally connected, you can feel it. You can see it in his eyes, in his words, in his actions. And that connection It's worth more than anything else in the world. Let me talk to you today about something that can truly transform your relationship if you understand it, if you practice it, if you really get it. And I'm talking about love languages. Now, some of you might have heard of this term before, but I want you to understand something. Understanding a man's love language is not just a cute little idea. It's the key to unlocking the heart of the man you care about. Because here's the truth. Men may act like they don't need affection. They may act like they don't need praise. They may act like they don't care about the little things, but they do. They want to feel loved, appreciated, and understood. And the way you express love to him can either strengthen your bond or slowly create distance without you even realizing it. And most people miss this, most women miss this, most men miss this because they don't understand the power of love languages. Let me break this down for you. Every man has a love language. That's right, each man has a way that he feels loved most deeply. And it might not be the same way that you feel loved. It might not be the same way your friends feel loved. But if you can learn his love language, if you can understand how he experiences love, you unlock a level of intimacy that most people never reach. And I'm not exaggerating. Understanding love languages is not just about saying I love you more often. It's about showing love in the way that he truly understands, in the way that resonates with him, in the way that makes him feel seen, valued, and appreciated. And let me tell you, when a man feels that, something magical happens. He opens up. He invests more. He becomes more attentive. He becomes more present. He becomes more loving in ways that go far beyond what words can describe. Now, let's talk about the 5 main love languages because this is where it gets really interesting. Some men feel love through words of affirmation. They want to hear that you appreciate them, that you respect them, that you admire them. They want to hear that you notice their efforts, that you recognize their hard work, that you value who they are as a man. And it's not about empty compliments or flattery. It's about genuine acknowledgement of the things that matter to him. When a man's love language is words of affirmation, hearing I see you, I respect you, I appreciate you can light him up in ways that actions alone cannot. Then you have men whose love language is quality time. These are the men who feel most loved when you give them your undivided attention, when you are present with them, when you share experiences, when you laugh together, when you connect emotionally. It's not about the amount of time, it's about the quality. It's about being fully there, without distraction, without phone, without other obligations pulling you away. When a man whose love language is quality time feels that, he feels valued and understood, and he will reciprocate the love with a depth that's hard to put into words. Other men feel loved through acts of service. These are the men who notice when you take the time to do something thoughtful for them, whether it's making them a meal, helping them with a project, or simply doing something that eases their burden. Acts of service are powerful because they demonstrate care in tangible ways. A man who experiences love through acts of service feels supported, he feels prioritized, he feels cared for. And when you consistently show love in this way, you reinforce his sense of security and commitment, and your bond deepens naturally over time. Then we have men whose love language is gifts. Now, I'm not talking about materialism or extravagant spending. I'm talking about meaningful gestures, thoughtful tokens that show you were thinking about him, that you pay attention, that you value him. It might be a handwritten note, a favorite snack, a small memento that has significance to both of you. Men who feel love through gifts perceive these gestures as symbols of attention and care. It's not the cost. It's the thoughtfulness, the intention behind the gesture. When a man's love language is gifts, a simple, thoughtful act can speak volumes about your love and commitment. And finally, some men feel love through physical touch. This is not just sexual intimacy, though, that can be part of it. It's about holding hands, hugging, a gentle touch on the shoulder, sitting close together, being physically present. Physical touch communicates safety, warmth, connection, and affection. When a man's love language is physical touch, these small acts of closeness build trust, security, and intimacy in ways that words or gifts cannot. Understanding this makes a world of difference. Because when you align your expression of love with the way he receives it best, you create a bond that is deep, resilient, and lasting. Now, here's the thing that many women miss. They show love in the way they would like to receive it, not in the way the man they love needs it. And that's where misunderstandings and frustration creep in. You might give a man words of affirmation, but his love language is acts of service, and he doesn't feel it. You might spend time with him, but he wants gifts, and he feels overlooked. You might give him all the physical affection in the world, but his heart is moved more by your words, and he feels disconnected. It's not that the love isn't there. It's that it's being communicated in a way that doesn't resonate with him. And when you understand his love language, you close that gap. You speak his love language fluently. You connect with him on a level that is often deeper than he himself realizes. And here's something important to understand. Men don't often ask for love in the way they need it. They may not verbalize it. They may not recognize it themselves. They may not even know what they need. But if you pay attention, if you observe, if you listen, you can start to recognize the patterns. You can notice what makes him light up, what makes him feel appreciated, what makes him feel connected. And when you respond accordingly, when you match your actions to his love language, something incredible happens. You build trust. You build intimacy. You build a relationship that is resilient, joyful, and fulfilling. Understanding a man's love language also changes the way you handle conflict. Because when a man feels loved in the way that speaks to his heart, he's more likely to respond positively during disagreement. He is more likely to communicate openly. He is more likely to compromise. He is more likely to seek solutions instead of shutting down. Emotional tension decreases, resentment decreases, and connection increases. And that's what a strong, healthy relationship is built on, not avoidance of conflict, but connection through understanding. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Steve, how do I find out what his love language is? It's simple, but it requires observation and patience. Watch how he expresses love. People often give love in the way they prefer to receive it. Does he give compliments often? Then words of affirmation might matter to him. Does he plan dates or do thoughtful gestures? Then acts of service or gifts may be key. Does he prioritize spending uninterrupted time with you? Then quality time is likely his language. Does he enjoy physical closeness and touch? Then that's how he feels loved most. And sometimes it's a combination, but once you start recognizing his patterns, you can consciously meet him where he is, and that changes everything. And here's the beauty of it. When a man feels loved in the way that speaks to him, he doesn't just respond with gratitude, he responds with love. He invests in the relationship. He becomes more attentive, more present, more caring, more patient. He starts to show up in ways that you may not have imagined. And that, my friends, is how relationships transform from good to great, from surface level to deep, from temporary to lasting. Let me tell you something else. Understanding love language is also about respect. It's about recognizing that your way of receiving love is not the only way. It's about valuing the other person's needs as much as your own. And when a man sees that you respect and understand his emotional needs, he feels safe. He feels appreciated. He feels loved. And that creates a bond that strengthens over time because it's based not just on attraction, not just on convenience, not just on routine. It's based on connection, understanding, and intentionality. And here's the final truth I want to leave you with. Love is not always easy, but love becomes easier when it is understood. When you understand a man's love language, when you meet his heart where it is, when you intentionally communicate in the way that resonates with him, you unlock a power in your relationship that is unmatched. You create loyalty. You create intimacy. You create a bond that withstands the pressures of life, the temptations of the world, and the tests of time. And that, my friends, is priceless. So I challenge you today to learn his love language. Observe, listen, pay attention, and act intentionally. Because love is not just a feeling, it's a choice and it's an action. And when you speak the language of his heart, you don't just make him feel loved, you make him feel understood, respected, and fully appreciated. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the foundation of a deep, meaningful, and lasting relationship. Let me tell you something about relationships that most people don't want to admit. People talk about love all the time. People talk about romance, passion, attraction. They talk about the big gestures, the fancy dinners, the gifts, the weekend getaway. And yes, those things are nice, don't get me wrong. But let me tell you the truth about what really holds a relationship together. The thing that creates a bond that doesn't break when life gets hard, when money gets tight, when arguments happen, when stress is high. The secret, the foundation, the glue that most people overlook is open communication. That's right. communication. The kind where you can be honest, the kind where you can be vulnerable, the kind where you speak your truth and you know the other person is listening without judgment. Open communication builds trust. Open communication creates understanding. Open communication strengthens bonds in ways that no amount of physical attraction, romance, or gifts ever can. Now, let me be clear about something.